And we're back with Dr. Campbell, learning all about premature births and the March of Dimes and the work that they do to help people who are confronting these problems. What are the causes? What are mothers or women who are thinking of having a baby, what are the things that they should be concerned about in terms of preventing premature birth?
Well, in order to try and do the best you can to assure a healthy baby, clearly a woman who's thinking about having a child should actually go and get a good checkup before even becoming pregnant. Mm-hmm. We know that many women do have underlying health problems: asthma, diabetes, high blood pressure, being overweight or obese, as well as other conditions. And the woman really should make sure that she is the healthiest possible before thinking about becoming pregnant. One of the biggest challenges in the United States is that over 50% of all pregnancies are unintended, not planned. And that certainly increases the risk in terms of preterm birth, as well as other kinds of complications that can affect the health of the mother as well as the health of the baby. Mm-hmm.
So women who are, you know, all of a sudden pregnant and they didn't plan for it, and are maybe a little more careless in terms of taking care of themselves?
Well, it's not necessarily even more careless, but certainly even in terms of just good, healthy living. One of the major factors we know that's important to the health of any pregnancy, as well as to lessen the risk of the baby having a serious birth defect, is taking folic acid. Once the baby is conceived and the egg is fertilized and the embryo is developing, it's too late to start taking folic acid. So that women should actually be taking, as part of their regular daily diet, a folic acid vitamin supplement included in a one-a-day vitamin, even before thinking about getting pregnant. So at the time that she does conceive, the early development of that embryo can happen properly and reduce the risk for a birth defect, a serious birth defect, and also improve her health. The same thing if she's thinking about getting pregnant. If she smokes, she should stop. If she occasionally has some alcohol, she should avoid alcohol. So these are all things in terms of planning a healthy pregnancy.
How irresponsible is a woman who nowadays, with all that we know, is it very irresponsible to drink while you're pregnant?
Well, it's certainly something that we encourage any woman who's thinking about becoming pregnant or who is pregnant to avoid, because we know that there are certainly risks to the developing baby in terms of fetal alcohol syndrome and related disorders from alcohol use while the woman is pregnant. But at the same time, I think that we need to think about pregnancy as an event where you want to have the woman and the baby, the developing baby, as healthy as possible. So eating a healthy diet, being physically active, trying to be in the best health one can, and also to try and think about stress reduction, because we're learning increasingly that a stressful life and stressful life events can actually increase the risk for preterm birth, as well as both affect the mother's health and the health of the developing baby.
And does a premature baby have more chances of developing other health problems later on?
Certainly. We know that babies who are born premature, and by premature we mean a baby who's born before the 37th week of pregnancy, can have a variety of problems, in part related to how early that baby is born. With the advances in technology and the improvements in both obstetric care as well as newborn care, babies as young as 23 weeks of development are able to survive. That's 17 weeks early. Certainly a baby who is born that early, if the baby does survive, is much more likely to have very serious health and developmental problems that will be lifelong. But even babies that are born as early as 32, 34, 36 weeks of development, so 4 weeks to 8 weeks early, are still at risk for health problems when they're born, health problems as they grow, and developmental problems and school problems.
And how is the March of Dimes involved with these babies after they're born?
After they're born, again, through to families in terms of helping them through the neonatal intensive care unit process, and then after their babies go home in terms of providing information, outreach, support, helping connect them with necessary resources, as well as providing information and education to try and prevent this from happening again.
I imagine that a mother who gives birth prematurely may not know that this is going to happen, and then after she gives birth prematurely is when she needs all this information,
absolutely.
Right?
She needs a lot of information, as does her family and her friends, because although prematurity is increasing nationwide, the vast majority of people don't know anyone who's had a preterm baby, don't really understand the needs of the family, so the families feel very isolated and alone, and the March of Dimes is an important resource to help the families with information, with support, with guidance, and also in terms of with subsequent pregnancies, trying to encourage the pregnant woman to think about becoming pregnant again, to go to her physician, have a good checkup again, a good evaluation. And the March of Dimes has developed and promoted a program called interconceptional preconceptional care, meaning that working with the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare team, helping the woman to assure that she is in the best health and the best state possible for a next pregnancy, to try and lessen the chance that she'll have another bad outcome.
And these March of Dimes programs, they are across the nation.
They are nationwide.
So here in the Bronx, we'll find everything that you're talking about.
Absolutely, and it's through the March of Dimes walks, the donations that many in the community have contributed, that the funding was put together that developed the preconception interconceptional program, that developed the NICU family support program, that developed and actually disseminated through the community folic acid awareness in terms of increasing everyone's awareness about the importance of taking folic acid, and also not just the woman who's planning a pregnancy, but everybody. Men's health. Folic acid is very important in terms of reducing your risk for cancer, for heart disease, for a number of chronic illnesses. So the March of Dimes has been instrumental in increasing awareness across the board about the importance of health and focusing on your health to assuring your own longevity, but the longevity of any baby that you're thinking about having.
And I imagine that a lot of the volunteers who work with you guys and march and do all these things are people who have received some of the benefits at some point?
Absolutely. We have every year thousands of parents coming together who've had babies in the neonatal intensive care unit, and they come and they march and they
appreciate what the job is.
They
right?
fundraise. They bring their children with them. So it's a wonderful event, and it does have we have marches in each of the boroughs, and again, it is citywide, statewide, across the nation.
Dr. Campbell, if anybody wants to reach out here in the Bronx to the March of Dimes, how do they do it?
If they wish to reach out to the March of Dimes, they can easily just go online and go www.marchofdimes.com, and they can link right into the March of Dimes website, and there are resources, information, lots of links. You can by zip code, find your local community contact, and really avail yourself of the full range of services that the March of Dimes offers.
Thank you for the education. Pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you so much for
We'll be right back with a bunch of students from all over the Bronx, and they're going to tell us about how they feel about the issues. We'll be back.